Hey guys, you're here at Farmer to Farmer in Omaha. I'm at Midwest Labs. We've done a tour here with the folks today. It's been fantastic. And I've got Paul Westerberg with me, who's the Soils Lab Supervisor. So Paul's going to tell us just a little bit about what the farmers saw here today. Paul, tell me about the tour and what kind of questions farmers asked you while they were here.
So the tour, we show them the whole soils lab. There's about 5 different areas. They want to know a lot about the phosphorus. They're very interested in how we determine the phosphorus.
Cool.
Everything's a little more complicated than you might think it is. A lot about organic matter. We talked a lot about that, and the pHs. Those are some things that you can change, you can look at. Every sample gets one run on it, and they had lots of questions about it.
Cool. I know there's about 30,000 samples that come through here every day, and what I'm wondering, and I think what farmers are wondering, is when their sample shows up here, what actually happens to it when it reaches the soils lab?
So during our peak seasons, we are running that volume. As soon as it shows up, the first thing we're going to do is give it an ID. We give it a lab number so we can track that sample through the whole system. With the proper paperwork, everything, it should be in the lab the very next day. We would analyze it the next day, and then by the following day, we should be able to report that. So we're hoping to have about a 48-hour turnaround and then run all the tests in that time.
Awesome. So the things that you're looking at in the lab, they end up on a report that goes back to the farmer. What are some key things that the farmer could look at on their report, and will they be able to then turn right around and make some different fertility decisions based on what you see here in the lab?
So between the pH, the phosphorus, the potassium, those are things that you can change. You can lime the soil, you can certainly add more fertilizer. A lot of the micronutrients are worth looking at because it may be one simple deficiency that's holding you back as much as you need a lot more phosphorus. So getting the whole package probably is the best picture of all.
So if farmers want to send off their soil to Midwest Labs, is there something that they need to do in particular when they're taking their core samples that will make your life easier here in the lab?
The biggest thing for us is that you send in enough samples. So we send out a bag, it's about 2 to 3 cups of soil. And as long as we have enough sample that we can grind it, prep it, and we do run multiple tests on it. So it's not just one small amount we need a lot. If it has a good ID on it and paperwork, just so we know who it's from and what it is.
Mm-hmm. So once the soil arrives in the soils lab, talk me through the steps that you go through, drying, grinding, all those things to get the actual results that you're looking for.
So we get the samples in right away when they show up, get a lab number on them. They're going to spread those samples out onto a tray so that they can dry well overnight. They'll give it all evening and the night to dry. We have special drying chambers that dry it very quickly. Then they can bring it out, they'll grind it all in the morning. It's about a 100-man-hour job to grind that much soil. They'll bring it out into the lab. In the lab, we're going to run it at least 5 different ways for 5 different tests. We'll scoop it using a volumetric scoops. We'll send it to the different areas. They'll analyze it. Once all the numbers are put together, we can compare those numbers through our agronomists and make sure that everything looks like it should. Mm-hmm. And then it gets sent out the very next day.
That's awesome. Cool. Well, thanks for taking the time to talk to us.
No problem. It's fun.
Cool. Guys, stay tuned for more. We're going to be live from the event this afternoon. You can follow us on social media or check out emergence.fbn.com for more stories.